Are you a Grammarly user? Time to start patching now. And if you're using Adobe Flash, guess what? It's that time for them as well. Critical exploit being vulnerability being exploited in the wild. California says no, you cannot cover your license plate. And alleged hacker Lauri Love avoids extradition to the United States. All this and more on this episode of Hack Naked News.
This is Security Weekly, for security professionals, by security professionals. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show that brings you the security news each week. And despite popular belief, we do wear pants. It's Hack Naked News.
Most of the organizations I work with, they have
released. Yes, you read it.
Actually do
The original Linux kernel security with Linux.
So I hope everybody has their resistance built up.
Brought to you by. This episode is brought to you by IT Pro TV, binge-worthy learning for IT teams. Why is it binge-worthy? It's learning presented in an engaging and entertaining talk show format that beats voice-over PowerPoint snooze fests. IT Pro TV offers an on-demand course library with more than 3,300 hours of content. Watch on your desktop, on the go, or in the comfort of your own living room. IT Pro TV is IT training you and your team actually want to watch, which means a better return on your learning investment. Get started with IT Pro TV for Teams with a special offer for Security Weekly listeners. Visit itpro.tv/Security Weekly to start a 7-day free trial and get 30% off a standard or premium IT Pro TV membership using the code SECWeekly30. Do you have a website, an external presence, employees, an office? Any of these things can be compromised and attacked. How are you defending these assets? Have you penetration tested these public assets? Start 2018 by taking a proactive approach to securing your vulnerable areas. Black Hills Information Security has been helping companies find their weaknesses since 2008. Email consulting@blackhillsinfosec.com and see how they can help you sleep better at night.
Welcome, everybody, to Hack Naked News, episode 160 for February 6, 2018. Paul's out this week, so I will be actually doing the podcast for us. Before we get started with the news of this week, we've got a couple of announcements for you. IT Pro TV has your security training available online for you, and go to itpro.tv/Security Weekly and use the discount code SECWeekly30 to try it free for 7 days and receive 30% off your monthly membership for the life of your active subscription. Go out and check itpro.tv now for your security training. While you're doing that, you can also check out our on-demand material. Some of our previously recorded webinars are now available on demand for your viewing pleasure. Go to securityweekly.com/on-demand. And with that, let's go into the news of the week. So, you a Grammarly user? If so, you might it's time to start patching to avoid having crooks steal your data. If you've seen the ad, if you've been on YouTube at all, you've almost certainly seen the ads for Grammarly. The software provider suffered from a vulnerability and how it enforced the same origin policy of their used in their Firefox and Chrome extensions. According to Tavis Ormandy, the Grammarly Chrome extension exposes its auth tokens to all websites. Therefore, any website can log into Grammarly.com as you and access all your documents, history, logs, and all other data. The flaw has been fixed by Grammarly, and it has released new versions of the Firefox and Chrome extensions. So if you use Grammarly, take a moment to do an update of your plugins. And while you're patching your systems, attackers are now exploiting a unpatched flaw, or actually now a recently patched flaw in Adobe Flash. Adobe Flash is back in the news with a critical security flaw. Adobe announced Thursday last week that CVE 2018-4878 affects Flash version 28.0.0.137 and earlier. According to Brian Krebs, the issue is currently being exploited by attackers. There's an updated release now available, so if you have Flash inside your environment for some reason, it's time to start patching again. or you can look at pitching flash entirely and just getting it out. In other news, California says, no, you cannot cover your license plate. California state senators killed SB 712, which would have allowed automobile owners to cover their license plates while they're parked. Now, under the current laws in California, vehicle owners are allowed to cover their entire vehicle while they're parked, including the license plate. However, law enforcement has to be able to get easy access to the license plate to check it if they decided they needed to. But under current law, you cannot have just your license plate cover. SB 712 would have allowed owners to cover only their license plate in response to automated license plate readers being used by companies to harvest this information. These companies are basically gathering up this information with cars equipped to scan in the license plates, tag them with your GPS information, and then they turn around and sell that data to law enforcement. This data can then be used to track the movement of vehicles, where they're at frequently, and things like that, depending on how often they're picked up by the vendors. Department of Homeland Security, for example, is actually just okayed the idea of having a database of all license plates that get collected and use that for their efforts, particularly for immigration. The EFF has the response to this. They were in favor of SB 712 in the first place, but with this being killed off, they've come back and said that the state senators now need to figure out a solution to this current issue of mass harvesting of license plates and being sold to law enforcement. New Western Digital MyCloud bugs provide local attackers root access on NAS devices. Researchers from TrustWave have disclosed 2 new vulnerabilities in the last week in Western Digital devices. One flaw is a command execution flaw that runs with root privileges, and the other is a file deletion flaw. Both vulnerabilities are related to the CGI script nas_sharing.cgi on the affected devices. Western Digital has released a new device firmware to address the issue, so it looks like we're back to patching again. To see the list of affected devices, you can check out the link in the show notes at wiki.securityweekly.com and look under Hack Naked News, episode 160. Alleged hacker Lauri Love avoids extradition to the United States. In other words, try him in England. Lauri Love was arrested in England back in 2013 for attacking the United States Army, NASA, and other U.S. federal agencies. Love is accused of placing hidden shells, and back doors within the networks, which would have allowed them to return to compromised systems at a later date and steal confidential data. The data stolen, allegedly, included the personal identifying information of thousands of individuals, some of whom were military service men and women, as well as other non-public material. The legal battle initially after Love's arrest quickly moved to whether or not he should be extradited to the United States for trial, or whether or not he should have his day in court in England itself. Yesterday, the extradition question was answered, and Love will stand trial in England. Now, obviously, this is a legal victory for Love. This is something he desired, was to stay inside, be tried in England, but this doesn't close out his legal issues. The ruling has no bearing on his innocence or guilt, and only ensures that his trial and any potential punishment will be completed in his home country. Sensitive Super Bowl security documents are found on a plane. This goes in the dope section of security news. Sensitive Homeland Security documents about drills for responding to biological attacks on the recent Super Bowl were actually found in the seatback pocket of an airliner. Along with these documents was actually the travel itinerary and boarding pass of the DHS employee who left them there, embarrassingly enough. So the documents contained information about drills that were performed to see how local law enforcement and other agencies in the area would respond to a biological attack. The documents included some of the results. These documents were actually supposed to be locked up after business hours Does make you wonder how they, one, got taken out of the building and put on an airplane, much less being read in public while flying somewhere. And finally, covert data channel in TLS dodges network perimeter protection. Researchers from Fidelis Cybersecurity have released a new proof of concept attack for using TLS certificate negotiations as a location to covertly pass data out of an environment. Now, if you've ever taken a look at the contents of a TLS certificate, you will see that there is really quite a bit of information contained here, and a lot of text fields that are not necessarily mandatory for a valid certificate. So this is where we can start placing information, or attackers rather, can start placing information to exfiltrate data out of the environment. According to the researchers, the TLS X.509 certificates have many fields where strings can be stored. The fields include version, serial number, issuer name, validity period, and so on. The certificate abuse described in our research takes advantage of this fact to hide data transfer inside of one of these fields. Since the certificate exchange happens before the TLS session is established, there appears to have never been any data transferred, when in reality the data was transferred within the certificate exchange itself. Fidelis was able to store 60 kilobytes of data in each TLS exchange. Now, obviously, transferring any large amount of data was going to require a large number of certificate negotiations, and it's going to have to occur at a fairly rapid rate. So this number of negotiations and their rate gives us at least a potential area for detection. Go ahead and check out the article in the show notes for more information about that. And with that, that is the news for this week on Hack Naked News. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.